Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Talkoffame podcast. I'm Kylie Montigney as your host, and on today's episode, we are welcoming Erin Washington. She's an author of From Pain to Purpose, Finding Meaning in the Mess, body image advocate, and media personality, where she can be seen on Good Day DC, Good Day Atlanta, former D1 athlete, host of the thErinpy podcast, and a single mom of two. Balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship, Erin is literally an open book. But welcome to the show, Erin. I'm so excited to have you on and talk about the amazing things you're doing. Everything that you're doing is absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So to kick off this episode, you've been so open about your journey of body image and self-worth, which I personally been struggling with over the maybe like kind of like last year or two. Like when did you first realize those struggles were affecting your daily life?
Kylie, it's all I thought about in my daily life was like calories and meal times. And if I was going out to eat, I had to like pull up the menu to make sure there was something that I would eat. And I hate to hear that you're struggling because I was exactly the same age. Mine was in college. Um, I knew it was a problem long before I addressed it, I will say. And my mom actually would address it, and I'd get very defensive because I felt like nobody else would get it. Nobody else was going through the same thing as I was going through. So I knew I had a problem. There was one probably like it should have been like a rock bottom moment, but I was still doing it afterwards. I was out in a snowstorm when I was living in DC and I was struggling with bulimia. And I was out in a legit snowstorm by myself trying to get to a convenience store to get all the like baked goods that I could binge and purge on. And I remember thinking, like, what are you doing? Like, look around you. No one's even out here. It was almost like a drug addict, like out trying to get a fix. And I knew it was bigger than me. It takes over, it's a mental illness, like eating disorders. It's not just like, well, just eat or just, it's like, no, it's a mental illness. It takes over everything. And I knew I had a problem in college, but I will say that I struggled probably until about 23, 24 before I was able to get out of that mess. And I hate to hear that you're dealing with it now. You can get out of it though.
Like that's something that I know a lot of people struggle with. I kind of deal with that. For me, I am progressively obsessed with baked goods, as you said. Literally right next to me, I literally have a chocolate muffin as we
Get
speak.
it?
So that's something that I oftentimes see myself is doing baked goods and oftentimes thinking like, okay, this is not healthy or something, but it's like it's an obsession that is very hard to get control of because you want it so bad, and then when you eat it, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
what was it
Well,
like? Like, were baked goods something that you always usually eat, or how did like that work?
it was just anything that I could numb out and go somewhere else. I think a lot of mine, I played Division 1 soccer in college and I had played my whole life, and a lot of my value and my identity was wrapped up in being a good soccer player. I quit in the middle of my college career. And when I lost that identity, I was very depressed. My roommates, I lived in the soccer house, so they would still go to practices and go to away games. And I just got super depressed, and I would just sit there and eat and numb out. And it was like something else to focus on where I could just like go somewhere else and not think about how depressed I was that I didn't have my value anymore. And when you put your value into something that you do, at some point that's going to go away. And if you don't have like intrinsic self worth and value, and that thing goes away, you can fall into depression. And that's when an eating disorder can creep in. So yeah, it was just like easier, like cheaper. I was in college. I could go and get, a pack of something that was like not a lot of money. I wasn't going to like a Whole Foods. So like baked goods were just I would just numb out and not have to think about all the other things that were making me upset. But then it becomes something that's the only thing you think about. And it's very hard to get out of that pattern because it becomes an obsession, as you said.
And especially like if it was your like daily routine, it's very hard to get out of that because that's such a big thing, especially since if you deal with it every single day at like maybe a certain time or you basically do it at some point during your day, it's very hard to get out of it. And that's something that I personally struggle with is like a routine that I do this every single day, and then I get coffee and get a muffin there if they have it. And it's like I
Yeah.
tried so many times to get out of it. And from personal experience, I don't know how it was for you personally, but it's like it's very hard to get out of it, especially like if you've been living in this space for so long. Like it takes a lot out of you to get out of that space.
Well, I will say if you're just getting a muffin, I don't think there's any issue there. And I don't want you to be stressing. Sometimes your body is more stressed about what you think. You eat a muffin and you move on, it's not going to affect you as much as the rest of the day being like, oh, why did I do that? And the shame, I did it again. I said I wasn't going to get the muffin and I got the muffin. When you like ruminate over it, that can make it worse. So you kind of have to change your relationship with it. Like, not be hard on yourself for getting a muffin. Like, don't punish yourself. Maybe don't get it every day. But I would ask you, like, why do you feel badly about getting the muffin? And what would be the reason to not get it? Is it like a physical health, like weight goal? Or like, why not get the muffin? I guess I would ask.
I would probably say this because probably going on a specific diet of eating sweets so often because I'm a very sweet person, like ice cream, cake, muffins, like everything you can think of that is sweets, I'm addicted to.
Mm-hmm.
So that it became such an obsession maybe the last like 2 years that I'm kind of trying to like do less of. And I feel like that's kind of,
Okay.
when I look in the mirror, I kind of have that self-confidence of, oh my gosh, like this is ruining like I don't like how I look. I don't like how muscular I look. Even if I do Pilates or go to the gym a couple times a week or whatever anyone would do, I usually look at myself in the mirror and be like, this is what sweets or whatever I'm eating doing to me. And I look awful.
This is to blame.
Yeah.
No, you don't look awful. I hate that you have that. What I don't understand is how girls your age can even manage with social media and the comparison, because I feel like when I was in my mess, I would not have been able to handle that. I would be constantly comparing. We didn't have that. I'm a dinosaur. I'm 44. So I cannot imagine like the critiquing and the looking. Social media isn't real. Like that's what I say in my foundation. If you're comparing your body to somebody else's body is making you feel less than, you should know that they have 100 more photos in their camera roll where they're sitting in a certain way and they only posted the one that makes them look just right. They probably done a face tune to it. So you're comparing yourself or not feeling like your body measures up to something that's not even real is one thing I want to say. So if there are accounts that you're following that's making you feel like your body isn't good enough, it's that comparison trap. Or if you feel good until you open Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever it is, you need to look at the triggers of what's making you feel that way. And then also the times that you're typically, I don't want to call it binging, but like going for the sweets, you almost have to put yourself in a different environment when those times come. I know you're a lot younger than me, but like when I wanted to stop drinking, I would always have a glass of wine in like early afternoon, like 4 or 5 o'clock. So I started booking a class or going to get my nails done, being out of the house. Like, so I would break myself of that habit that I would see wine. We pour a glass of wine at 5 o'clock. I had to schedule myself away from that habit so that I physically couldn't do it until it became something that I don't even think about anymore. So I would say those two things. Think about when you're starting to feel less than about your body. Is it when you've been on social media or talking to a certain friend? Find those triggers and then unfollow, maybe unfriend somebody that's making you feel that way. And then the times where you know it's going to happen, when you go to the coffee shop, maybe don't go make coffee at home. Don't go out for coffee. Get a coffee maker because then you're not going to see the muffin. And then when you start to change your patterns, it's easier to change your habit because you've literally taken yourself out of the pattern that makes you want that muffin.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the point that you said earlier about going on social media because I think for me at least, I can't speak for other people, but for me, it's kind of like when for example, if I'm looking on Instagram for maybe like 2 minutes to kind of scroll and see like what people are up to or something. when I
Hmm.
see different pictures of maybe models or people that go to the gym maybe every day or whatever that may be, it triggers my mind saying, "Oh, why do I not look like that?" Or
Of course.
why am I not pretty enough? Like, why can't I look like this person? Like, I will be constantly comparing myself to others. And I feel like everyone kind of deals with that kind of similar but differently in a way, depending on how you are. And I think social media has played like such a big role in that. And for me, like that's one of the cons of social media is that even like if like doesn't relate to you in any way, but you're still judging based off of that. And for me, it's like whenever I'm at Pilates. For example, I'll be at Pilates maybe at one point during the week, and I'll take a picture of myself and maybe post it on my Instagram story or something. And I'll always have to push like my stomach in because I want to look a certain way in which I don't want to like portray myself as,
Sure.
like a not a bigger person, but it's kind of like I want to
No,
be
you just want to
seen.
look your best. You want to get
Yeah,
your
look
best
my
angle.
best
I
and
think
kind of look a certain
that's what
way.
everybody feels. Sure. I don't think that's the same as literally changing your body. I want to share something with you. I put this in my first book. I was on a plane and a reality star, I won't say who it is, was sitting one row ahead of me. No one was in her row. So she is editing a photo, assuming nobody could see because there's no one in a row, but I could see like through the seats.
Mhm.
And I'm watching this Kylie thin woman. She wasn't a model, but she could be like a thin model body. She's wearing a bathing suit and I didn't know what it was at the time, but I assume it's Facetune, what people use now. She was like blowing up a part of her leg and just shaving off a little bit of her thigh, doing her arm, a little bit of her arm. And I'm watching this like, no way. She's about to post this. And I said, there's going to be, she did. She posts a picture. I went and found her on Instagram. It had 119,000 likes. And all I kept thinking is there is a 20-year-old girl scrolling and saying, if I could just starve myself a little more, if I could just put down that chocolate muffin, I could look like this girl. That girl does not look like that. I watched her complete. And the other sad part is she was not confident enough to post a picture of herself without, like you just said, making herself look a little bit smaller. So it was sad in both regards. That's why I started my nonprofit. All the teenage girls or young adults that saw that picture and felt less than about themselves were comparing themselves to someone that does not have that body. I watched her do it. And she was also not confident enough to post a picture of her own body. So it was sad on both, but I can tell you, any account that's making you feel less than, it probably has been edited, that picture, and unfollow. Like follow positive content. Like I'm not saying like get off social media, but if you know every time you see a certain person, it's ruining your day or making you feel a little less than, unfollow. That's why that button is there. And trust me, they have more photos in their camera roll that they didn't post that they don't look like that. And I feel like a lot of younger influencers are posting like before and like Instagram versus reality photos
Mhm.
of like, here's what I posted, here's what I didn't. Here's my same body 2 minutes later, but I'm just sitting in a certain way, like we all do, because we want to portray this best image. It's not real. And then it's ruining people's days. But that girl that you're comparing yourself to doesn't look like that. And I've seen it happen in real life.
That's absolutely crazy. Like, I mean, I kind of get
Yes.
that part. Like, you want to be betrayed the same way. I'm kind of like that too, but I won't like edit it. If it's real time, I really won't edit it. If unless it's like maybe filters or whatever, like to make it more professional. But at the same time, I'm like, even if you're an influencer or whatever you may be, everyone
Hmm.
still like deals with self-confidence, and that's perfectly okay.
Yes.
Even if you are a big name, have millions to thousands of followers, everyone deals
Yes.
with it, even if they portray as, very confident, amazing person. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And if I looked behind that plane and seen it, I'll be like, what the F is going on? Like, I
I
understand, like,
couldn't
okay,
believe
you
it.
want to be tr treated the same way, but also you don't want people to judge you based off of how you look. Because I deal with that as well. Because I also want to be like, okay, I don't want people to judge me based off of, how I look or what my body looks like, because I'm very
Mhm.
insecure of how sometimes how I look. It doesn't happen very often. But whenever I
Same.
do, I'm just like, yeah, like editing myself won't be the case scenario. It'll probably make me feel worse. And you should honestly be you. Like, if people don't like the way you absolutely look, it's fine. Like, there's a lot of influencers out there that portray they might be, a little bigger or whatever it may be, and they show self-love and confidence to themselves, where maybe 2 years ago they really struggled with that and give them tips, which I see all the time, and I think that's absolutely amazing. But to edit yourself out to portray as something you want to seem as maybe like, okay, like I'm very confident, but then behind the screen, you're absolutely miserable because how you look.
Yes. One thing that stood out that you just said, and I say to my girls in my foundation, if you find yourself changing the way you talk, or maybe like laughing a little more, or being anything that's not your authentic self around people, those aren't your people. And
Hmm.
like you just said, some people may not like you. There's nothing wrong with you. Those aren't your people. You should not change yourself. When you are being authentically who you are, you will attract the people into your life that are supposed to be in your life. And when you pretend, and I can speak for myself, my husband was in the NFL. I
Hmm.
was really struggling with confidence and body image. So him dating me was like a prize. He thinks I'm important and he's shiny and important. So if I'm his girlfriend, I'll be shiny and important because I didn't see it in myself. So
Hmm.
I was just being what I thought he wanted. And it worked. And we got married. But now we're not together anymore. And it's when I started healing and living as exactly who I am. It's not a match. We're not aligned. And I was living as a different person trying to get him to pick me. You should never change who you are. You be you, and the people that are supposed to be in your life and attracted to that same energy will find you, not just relationships, but friendships. So if you are around somebody that you feel like you're kind of in your head, you're like, should I make a joke? Should I laugh? You don't be any different. And because even if they are friends with you, it's not going to last. You just have to be you, and your people will find you. And if you don't, you're going to end up in a relationship that's never going to end up working out, because when you do find confidence and you start living as who you actually are, you're like, this isn't a match at all. But if you genuinely just are authentic to who you are and live like that, the relationships, the friendships that match that energy that is you will find you. So your life will be so much richer and fuller. You just be you. If somebody you say, well, that girl doesn't like me, she's just not your person. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. And your people will be attracted to exactly who you are. But I think a lot of girls are hesitant or not confident enough to live as who they are, because you want to be chosen and validated and you want people to like you and you want to have a lot of friends. So you try to be what you think those people want. It doesn't work out in the long run, because you will find confidence and then you'll live as who you are. And then those friendships won't feel fulfilling anymore. And that relationship won't be aligned because you're finally living as who you actually are.
I feel like for a lot of people, like I'm glad you brought this up because I've seen it from a lot of people, they often mask on how they really are just so they can fit in. And I kind of do that too, just because I'm like,
Sure.
in order to fit in and want to make people like you oftentimes have to mask how you really are and just fit in based off of maybe the group of people you're with match your personalities. And when you're at home or whenever you're done with your friends or something, it drains the heck out of you. And for
Yes.
me, it's like I hate putting on that act whenever I do it. I don't do as much as, I used to, but I kind of learned that, like, if people don't like you for who you really are, then push them away. They're not your people. Like,
They're not
even
your
if you don't
people.
realize that at that specific moment, you will realize, like, if they don't like you for you, or they kind of don't like your personality, then those people are not for you. They can be like judgy. A lot of girls can be judgy, and that's
Yeah.
completely normal. No matter if you're a teenager, adult, or whatever, there's always gonna be girls that are gonna not like you because of whatever it may be. And That took me honestly a hot minute to realize is that like everyone's not gonna like you. Like it's okay for that for people not to like you. Everyone has different interests. Everyone has their own personality. Like of course you're gonna have friendships that come and go, and that's okay. And as you get
Yeah.
older, like you're gonna at least have a good amount of friends that like you for you and that you don't have to mask around. And that's a friend that you have to realize that, like, if you can be around your friends of maybe a group or something, they can truly be yourself and they won't judge you for it. That's the type of friends that you should have, no matter if it's just
Yes.
one
And
or
like
two.
you said, if not, like you just said, you're going to be drained trying to keep up a personality that is not you. If you can just be you, it's so much easier. You can relax and don't feel like maybe the right friends haven't or the right relationship hasn't come into your life yet. You can't change who you are. Just trust that living as you are will bring the right matches to that energy. And living as anything else, you're going to match the wrong thing and it's not going to work out anyway. And it's going to be a waste of time because that's when you finally find that confidence and start living as yourself, which I feel like women find later, it doesn't match anymore. That's not a friend. Like that's not a true friendship if you don't enjoy that person. So if you can find it earlier and just be you, you'll have friendships for life that are actually authentic friendships.
Exactly. And no matter how old you are, you kind of will realize that like friends come and go. You can be still friends with someone for maybe 20 years that turns out they're not what you think they are. Like they can put on a fake face, but maybe talk behind and talk shit about you or just talk about other things to people that you maybe would not know until later on in life. And that's something
Yeah.
that oftentimes happens all the time. Even if it doesn't really happen to you very much, it's kind of like I see it everywhere. Like whether it's like my friends or family or whatever, it's the most frustrating thing you could ever have. And
Mm.
you can still find friends in your 40s or whatever as an adult and can be best friends with them later on. You can't like be scared of making new friendships and then in your 20s and be friends with them forever. Like you can still make friendships no matter how old you are and be best friends with them later on. There's no specific age to make best friends. It can be any age.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
My
I
friends
term
that
it.
I've met recently are people that I really enjoy because they met me. They met me being me, not me trying to be anybody else. So it's been easier, like in my 40s. And I feel like women find their confidence to live as who they are later. So those friendships may be stronger because the people that you're hanging out with are meeting who you actually are. If you can find that earlier, like that is advice I would give 20 years ago. If I would just be confident enough to be me and not care about everybody liking me and just finding my people, I mean, it's a game changer. Just be you and trust that the energy you're putting out that is you will match that like energy and relationships and friendships. And it may not happen right away, but trust that if you're living as you are, your people will find you.
No, exactly. And to go to your book, From Pain to
Mm-hmm.
Purpose, Finding Meaning in the Mess is such, a powerful title because Pain to Purpose is such, you know, like you don't realize how much you can find that purpose in how you feel. And what does that phrase personally mean to you today compared to when you wrote it and were feeling that?
I think I'm just more rooted in it. Like when I was like, it was like a catchy title, honestly, when I wrote it. But now, like a couple of years later, more things have evolved, more purpose that it's exactly pain to purpose is exactly my life. I went through that pain of, I would say, almost 20 years of struggling with body image, self worth, eating disorders to come out of on the other side, share it, make other women feel seen and less alone. The DMs that I get, Kylie, of people saying, me too. I mean, you've been so brave and vulnerable. A lot of women just feel like we shouldn't say it and they feel shameful about it. I went through that pain to come out and say it. Now women feel safe with me because I'm like, yeah, me too. So they'll come and talk to me about it. They'll share their stories. I share exactly how I healed, how I used to live, all of the messiness of how I used to live, how I came out of it, how I live now to help the next woman out of it. And that was my purpose. So when I look back at all those dark years, it was all purposeful. It wasn't just like this dark time. It had to happen so I could come out and say, I get it. I get what you're going through. I went through it too. And now here's how I came out on the other side. My relationship, you could call it painful, like going through a divorce, but we have two beautiful children that I know I was supposed to bring into this world. My kids are biracial. So their skin is darker, their hair is curly, and my daughter is super, super tall. So she'll come home from school every day. Mean girls, they're gonna be like, "Why are you so tall?" What? And I said, "You just say everybody's a little bit like their mom, a little bit like their dad. My mom and dad are tall." I was like, there's no book that teaches kids you're just like you're supposed to be. When my daughter says, this girl's ponytail isn't like mine, your ponytail is supposed to be curly. I wrote a children's book called I'm Just Like Me to show kids you're just the way you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be like anybody else. And like that came out of me seeing the struggle that my daughter was having. So any dark time or sad situation that maybe you've buried or you're not talking about, if you haven't found profound purpose in your life, a lot of times it could be in that stuff that you're not looking at. If I never talked about my eating disorders, I would be like a stay-at-home mom. All of this happened for me sharing the dark thing. And maybe it's not even a dark thing. Maybe it's something that happened to you that you don't want people to know about. If you can get past that shame and know and trust that you are not the only person in that situation, everybody struggles with exactly what you're struggling with or went through, just not everybody says it out loud. We just need somebody to say it so that everybody else will feel more comfortable. Then the stigma goes away. I talk about bulimia so openly now because it doesn't have that power over me that it had when it was a secret. Once it
Mm-hmm.
became not a secret, it's only scary because it's packed away. So if you can have the courage to get in there, you don't have to write a book, but like write it down, tell a friend, tell your boyfriend, tell your husband, get it off of you. It's only heavy because it's put away. And once you can address or face that thing, then you realize other people are still in it and you can create purpose and community to help the next person out of it. And I keep making it a dark, maybe it's not a dark thing. Maybe you know how to do. My friend loves making sourdough bread, loves it, but she is not a baker. She just loves doing it as a hobby. She would just start putting little pictures on her Instagram. Then it was like, maybe I'll sell a couple. Let's see how it goes. She has this full blown business doing exactly what she loves, teaching other people how to do it just by putting out something that she loves to do. And she knew how to teach. Other people don't know how to do that. You create a community, and it's like she was supposed to share that. So now she could find her life calling and her purpose. And it may not be something that you're studying, like you're in college, whatever you're going to school for. Don't feel like, no, I have the degree in this, I have to do this. You're on this planet, your soul specifically, for a reason. And it may not be what you think it is now. Like I talk a lot of times. There was a football player that played with my husband who's a really great NFL football player. He could have retired and just stayed an NFL football player. Everybody would be like, great life. He was a great football player. He started doing broadcasting for ESPN, and he is like the best at that. He didn't have to step into that. He could be like, no, I don't study journalism. I'm a football player. He found his specific calling was this. Maybe everybody else thought it was football, and maybe he went to school for football, but don't just stay in a box that you think you need to stay in. What does everybody come to you for? And like my friend, she's like, everybody's asking me about the bread. It's like, make an Instagram. Maybe you're a great accountant and you're in school for finance, but you're the friend that everybody comes to when they have boy problems or they're struggling with something or they just need a ear. Maybe therapy. Maybe you're supposed to be a therapist. Maybe you're supposed to be a counselor, but you're like, no, I'm here for finance. Don't stay in that box. If you're getting these hits around you that you have a talent somewhere else, only you're hearing that. So you don't have to run it by anybody else and be like, what do you think about this? Because all they're going to say is, no, you're going to school for this. If you have it on your heart, don't tuck it away somewhere. Get in there because that may be what your soul is on this planet to do, not what you think it is. I thought soccer, soccer, soccer. I am valuable because I'm good at soccer. And then when that was gone, I was depressed and struggled with eating disorders for a decade. So don't assume that what you think your path is what the path should be. And just because you've invested time in it, then that you have to stay with it. Be open, look for the signs. I say, what do people come to you for? Maybe that's the path for you.
And like I feel like it's never too late to find a different thing. And for college, it's like a lot of people maybe will get a degree in teaching and never use that degree and go into something else, and that's perfectly okay. And you can also have that degree and still do it maybe in some sort of way, whatever. But you can also do something on the side that you really actually love. Like you see the football player that turned into a broadcaster. Like, of course, your main priority was to be a football player. That's all you came about. And that's your whole personality. And then you somehow retired from whatever that may be, or you're just kind of getting older, you maybe
Yeah.
don't want to do it anymore, whatever the main reason may be. And you found broadcasting was your thing. Whatever it's something like, okay, I want to do broadcasting for specifically, let's just say football. And that's something
Yeah.
that you still love to be involved in, even though like
Yes.
you're still not playing or you're not a coach or whatever that may be, whatever you're doing, it's still something that you're still involved in what you're doing this on the other side what you do. And that's also another
Mhm.
point is that like even if you love what you do and you're kind of stepping aside for maybe your family or you're getting older, your priorities change, whatever that reason could be, it can be a variety of different reasons. You can still
Mhm.
do that, but maybe on a different scale. And that's perfectly okay. And I'm a
Yes.
freshman as a journalism major. And for me, it's like my whole personality doesn't have to be journalism. I'm also good with animals. And so, like, I
Okay.
do dog walking all the time. And also, like, your whole personality doesn't have to be just broadcasting or whatever it may be. You can also do things that you absolutely love on the side that you love doing. And because everyone has
Yeah.
a few things that they're very good at. And whether it's, football or just broadcasting, like everyone has things they're good at, but it could be different from others.
And I want to say too, there's oftentimes somebody that sees it in you before you see it in yourself. I was a
Exactly.
stay-at-home mom, and during COVID, I was going on Instagram saying, "What in the hell am I supposed to do with a 2 and a 4-year-old when their schools are closed, the playgrounds are closed?" I just was being my, again, authentic self.
Hmm.
I'm not auditioning for anything. I don't have a journalism or background in media. Every week I was going live on Instagram talking to other moms. I made a little show, not worrying about who's watching it, being me. A program director at the biggest radio station in Washington, D.C. was watching me every week. I have no idea. So I'm being my authentic self. She called and gave me my show. So you never know. But if it was an audition, I could see myself being like, well, I didn't go to school for journalism and like maybe putting on like a journalism boy. She saw me being me. And this was for me. And she gave me the show. So just be you in every aspect of your life. You don't even have to be looking for a job. Put yourself, your genuine, authentic energy out into the world. The job for you will find you, the relationships, the friendships, when you're being you. And I feel like if it would have been an audition, I probably wouldn't have the show because I don't have a journalism background and I would have probably been trying to be like polished up and this media girl. She saw me being me and was like, this is a show. Here's the equipment. We'll produce it for you at the radio station. I wasn't even looking for it, but I was being me and putting out my authentic energy.
It's like you never know what
No.
opportunities you're gonna get based off doing the Instagram live. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy because
Put it
you
out
never
there.
know who's gonna watch. Like that's like a
Yes.
coincidence. Like you were meant to be on this live. Like who knows who's watching
Yes.
that Instagram live or who's watching your show or listening to your podcast. Like
Yes.
for you to be at your authentic self and just being yourself in general can lead to a variety of different things, which
Yes.
you would not expect.
In every aspect of your life. Just be you and everything for you will find you. And it's very easy to be like just be you because I get it. When I was your age, I was being what I thought other friends would want, what a guy would want. I was just trying to be attractive and that's not the way. Like if I could go back and talk to myself in college, college was when I struggled the most. It's
Hmm.
like just trust that the people that will mesh with you and your energy will find you when you're yourself. And I can come back and say that now in my 40s. I wish I had been myself sooner and had the confidence to just be me. And then just know that everyone around you at that age is doing the same thing. Everybody wants to be chosen and popular. So I don't know how you're even existing with social media. That would have taken me out. Stop comparing. Don't look at those accounts that trigger you. and just know that everyone struggles. Not everyone says it out loud. The most has it together popular girl is probably struggling the most. And I can say that as I was homecoming queen and prom queen. I was also very anorexic, very unconfident, hated myself. Everyone is projecting, everyone is struggling, just not everyone says it out loud.
Exactly. And like you never know what's going on behind the scenes. You can think someone is happy from like when you're with them, then when they get home, they can be really depressed, but won't show and have a smile on their face when they see you.
Sure. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And I think that is honestly the best way to wrap up this episode. I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to chat with us today. It means so much, and I love having you on. I will make sure to put the link below to like your social medias and all of that for people to check out, listen to your podcast, your book as well. You can find all of that in the description. But I really thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Kylie. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So thank you everyone for listening. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and make sure to like, subscribe, and review, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.